Introduction of Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World Book Summary. What drives a boy born clutching a dark red blood clot to become history's most feared conqueror? You'll discover how Temujin's world fell apart when his father died, leaving his family alone on a frozen steppe, and how his mother's fierce love and his own strength and skills turned him into a leader who valued honor over birth. You'll learn how personal betrayals taught him the cost of loyalty, how he carved arrows by hand and rose through pure talent, and how his bold reforms built an empire stretching from Siberia across Central Asia. Get ready to see the man behind the myth, ruthless yet visionary, brutal yet fair. Listen till the end of the book summary. This video, including its audio and script, is protected by copyright. Unauthorized reproduction, distribution, or piracy is strictly prohibited and may result in legal action. Welcome to Biography and Memoir English Book Summary, Episode 5. In this episode, we'll explore 2004 published book Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World, written by Jack Weatherford. The full title of the book is Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World, The Rise of the Mongol Empire and its First Great Khan. Chapter 1 of Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World Book Summary, Sacrifice and Survival. What would you do if your life meant giving someone else a chance to live? Holan was just 16. She rode fast across the frozen grasslands with her husband Kiledu. 3 angry horsemen chased them. Kiledu tried a trick. He rode around a mountain to distract their foes. Holan knew it would not work. Their attackers owned these lands. They wanted the precious load the couple carried. When Kiledu came back, Holan spoke her plan. She would give herself up. She would let them take her. Kiledu begged her not to, but Holan would not change her mind. Soon the pursuers caught her. She met the man Yesugai. He would become her new husband. She did not know it yet. In a few years, she would hold their baby son. He would clutch a black blood clot in his tiny fist. It was a strange sign. No one knew what it meant, doom or good luck. Holan's new life was hard. Yesugai already had another wife and son. Holan and her children were low in the clan. When Yesugai died, the clan left them alone. They walked behind empty tents. An old man spoke out. He said it was wrong. A clansman killed him with a spear. Young Temujin ran to help. He could not save the man. He cried as the old man died. He learned then that kindness mattered more than rank. Holan refused to give up. She found berries and roots. She warmed her children with dog skins. Temujin carved arrows to hunt rats. They survived on the cold river bank. Temujin's half-brother Vegta was cruel. He stole a bird Temujin had shot. One day, Temujin and his brother Kaza took bows and ran after Vegta. They fired in silence. Vegta fell. The brothers fled. This act broke a sacred rule. It showed Temujin's skill and his fierce will to take revenge. Chapter 2 of Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World. Book Summary, Brotherhood and Betrayal. Ever wondered how best friends become enemies? Temujin and Yamuka stood by a tree at the edge of a steep cliff. They swore to be brothers again. They swapped horses and golden sashes. These gifts were parts of their souls. They promised they would never leave each other. Temujin's small band joined Yamuka's camp. He learned how to herd animals. For a while, he was content, but he was still the man who chose to kill his half-brother rather than submit. Over the next months, Yamuka began to boss Temujin around. He treated him more like a younger brother than an equal. Temujin's pride burned with resentment. One day, Yamuka insulted him in front of everyone. Temujin felt trapped. He turned to his wife Borte for advice. She told him to break ties with Yamuka. She said he should lead his own people. That night, Temujin slipped away with many of Yamuka's followers. They fled the camp in secret. This escape sparked 2 decades of warfare between the former blood brothers. Both began to gather new followers. Clans shifted sides for power or safety. Years passed, no one gained the upper hand. Then in the summer of 1189, Temujin was 27. He made a bold move. He claimed the title of Khan. He wanted more of Yamuka's warriors to join him. He set up a new order in his clan. He chose helpers, archers, and guards by skill alone. Family ties did not matter. This was a radical change for the Mongols. With his title, Temujin launched raids on rival clans. He changed the rules of battle. He ordered that no enemy should flee alive. Only then could his men loot. He gathered all the goods first. Then he shared them fairly among his followers. He also encouraged tribes to intermarry. He formed squads of 10 warriors. This made strangers fight as brothers. He made everyone serve the group one day each week. This taught total equality. Temujin rose as the best military leader on the steppe. Yet he still answered to Ong Khan, who held the central lands. Ong Khan saw Temujin's power as a threat. He offered his daughter's hand in marriage to Temujin's son. It was a trap to wipe out Temujin and his family. Luckily, Temujin learned of the plot just in time. He told his band to scatter and flee. Now he was alone in hostile lands. His people were left behind. What will Temujin do next? That question leads us into our next Chapter 3 of Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World Book Summary. A turning point. What if one horse could save a leader's life? Temujin and 19 men had fled all day. They reached the empty shores of Lake Balgina. They were cold and hungry. They feared they might die there. Then a wild horse appeared from the north. Khazar, Temujin's brother, rode out. He killed the horse so they could eat. In Mongol life, horses are honored above all. Finding one in that moment felt like a gift from the sky. The meat fed them. It gave them strength. After the meal, Temujin raised his cup. He thanked his men for staying true. They swore to follow him forever. This promise became the Balgina Covenant. It grew into a legend that would bind their new empire. Temujin saw his chance. He led his band back across the steppe. Ong Khan was still celebrating his own victory. Temujin struck fast. His men surprised Ong Khan's feast. They fought for 3 days straight. Temujin's army did more than win. They crushed their foes. Ong Khan's sister Dvij fled in every direction. His son was left behind. He died of thirst in the desert. As for Ong Khan, no one knows what happened to him for sure. Years passed. By 1204, Temujin faced the last clan that resisted him. He defeated them too. He now ruled all of Mongolia. This land was as large as modern Western Europe. He named his people Yeki Mongol Ulus. It meant the Great Mongol Nation. For himself, he chose a new name. He picked Genghis Khan. Genghis came from a word that meant strong, unshakable, and fearless. Genghis Khan set up a new code called the Great Law. It was unlike any rules before. It grew from old Mongol ways. It cut out what held them back. He banned the kidnapping of women. He stopped the enslavement of any Mongol. Stealing an animal became punishable by death. He also said that Khans must be chosen by a Kurultai, a council of all clans. Even the Khan had to follow these rules. The Great Law was not fixed in stone. It changed as the empire grew. With all nomads united, Genghis Khan looked outward. In 1207, he sent his eldest son, Yoki, north into Siberia. Yoki came back with new men, tribe leaders, fine furs, and trained hunting birds. The north offered recruits and rich pelts. But Genghis Khan knew greater treasures lay to the south. Their artisans wove lovely cloths and made strong metals. His next campaigns would reach in Chapter 4 of Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World Book Summary, Silk to Steel. What if silk and swords changed the fate of a vast land? In the early 1200s, the area south of Mongolia was full of small kingdoms. They held 1/3 of the world's people. Between 1207 and 1209, Genghis Khan beat the Tengut. By 1211, he turned on the Jerkid, once his friends. That raid sparked a war. It lasted 15 years. The lands he won stayed in his family for generations. After the Jerkid fell, the Mongols returned home with huge loads of silk. They used the extra cloth as packing for other treasures. Back in Mongolia, they wore silken robes. They sat on lacquered chairs. They waved paper fans. They drank from porcelain bowls. They carried metal armor and played board games. They used perfume and makeup. They wore fine jewelry and rode on carved saddles. They also brought princes, priests, doctors, translators, artists, and goldsmiths. But their taste for luxury grew too big. The new craftsmen needed more materials. Feeding so many mouths took barley and wheat. Genghis Khan knew his people could not stay on the steppes forever. He had to plan supply lines. He had to keep the craftsmen busy. He had to move his armies with purpose. By 1219, Genghis Khan was almost 60. He had more goods than he could use. He wanted to trade with the Middle East. Muslim lands made the best steel and glass. From Afghanistan to the Black Sea, a land called Khwarizm was ruled by Sultan Muhammad II. Genghis sent an envoy to ask for trade. The Sultan agreed, if only quietly. Then Genghis sent 450 merchants with a big caravan. They went through the province of Uttar. Instead of peace, the governor attacked them. He stole their goods. He killed all the merchants and drivers. When Genghis heard, he was furious. He sent more envoys to demand revenge. The Sultan killed some. He mutilated the rest. He sent them back as a warning. Genghis rode to Bokan Khaldun. He prayed there for 3 days and nights. Then he led his armies west in 1219. Over the next 4 years, his warriors swept through Central Asia. They took cities from the Himalayas to the Caucasus. They reached from the Indus River to the Volga. These lands were the richest and smartest in the world. Genghis told people to surrender for fair treatment. Those who fought lived to die in battle. Stories of his might spread fast. Many feared him more than any storm. By then, Genghis was in his 60s and weak with age. Mongols never spoke of death, but he knew his time was short. He called a Kurultai. He chose his third son, Ogodai, as his heir. He gave lands and herds to each of his sons. Then he led one last fight against the Tangut, the clan he first attacked. His health gave out. Just before victory, he died. They wrapped him in white felt with sandalwood. They locked his coffin with gold straps. Soldiers guarded his grave forever. After his death, his children took up the fight. They built an empire the size of Africa. It spanned 30 modern nations. It held 3 billion people. The Mongols did not bring new tech or religion. They did carry ideas across borders. They built bridges, many more than any ruler before. They left the world richer in culture and trade. Without them, our map might... Conclusion of Bedtime Biography, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World Book Summary. Final thoughts. You've seen how Temujin grew from a baby holding a strange blood clot into a leader who changed the world. You learned how his mother Holin's fierce love taught him to value honest deeds over big names. You saw him carve arrows and find roots to survive. Early lessons in loyalty and revenge shaped his sharp mind and fearless will. At 27, he became Genghis Khan. He broke old rules by choosing friends for skill, not family. He shared loot fairly and made the great law to protect the weak. You watched him unite the clans, push from Siberia to Khwarizm, and build the largest land empire ever. But Genghis Khan was more than a conqueror. He opened new trade routes and helped ideas flow between East and West. His children and grandkids ruled for centuries. His laws and bridges between cultures live on in our world today. Thanks for joining this book summary of a man who both fought and built, who brought fear and hope. Listen the other book summary. Disclaimer, please check the description. Any digital copy of this content that is shared through piracy or downloaded without permission or uploaded on any online social media platform will be considered a clear violation of copyright law. Piracy is a serious offense, and strict legal action will be taken against it. Additionally, copyright infringement may result in a strike against your YouTube channel or page, and it could even be deleted. Therefore, please do not engage in piracy or support it. This content has been created based on the references from the mentioned book. However, it may contain some unintentional errors or inconsistencies due to human or mechanical mistakes. If you notice any mistakes or inconsistencies, please accept our apologies and inform us through a comment or message. If you enjoy this book summary and wish to gain complete knowledge of the book, then please consider purchasing the book from an online or offline bookstore and reading it. Thank you.